Mr. Men, Little Miss, Super Silly Day. Mr. Mischief's favorite day of the year was April 1st, April Fool's Day, the one day of the year when he was allowed to play jokes on everyone. Not that this stopped Mr. Mischief from playing jokes the rest of the year, but it was the one day when he didn't get into trouble, and Mr. Mischief was very proud of his April Fool's Day jokes. One year, he had painted over little Miss Dottie's windows and fooled her into thinking it was nighttime for a whole week. Another year, he spent a merry hour in little Miss Neat's kitchen in the middle of the night, swapping everything around. When she came down for breakfast in the morning, nothing was where it should have been. The coffee jar was full of eggs, the bread bin was full of jelly, the cereal packet was full of flour, and the saucepans were in the fridge. And last year, he glued a pound coin to Mr. Mean's footpath. Now, Mr. Mischief wasn't the only person who was proud of their April Fool's Day jokes. Little Miss Naughty had been just as busy as Mr. Mischief. She had put a magnet on little Miss Quick's backpack, who couldn't understand why she could not keep up with Mr. Slow. She hid a scary snowman in little Miss Scary's freezer, and she glued all Mr. Topsy-Turvy's furniture to the ceiling. He didn't know which way up was right and which way down was wrong. There was someone else who liked to joke, someone who liked to cause trouble, Little Miss Trouble. A week before April Fool's Day, she visited little Miss Naughty, who brought out tea in a teapot, milk in a jug, and sugar in a bowl, except it wasn't sugar. It was salt. However, little Miss Trouble was far too clever to fall for that old trick. Instead, she told little Miss Naughty that Mr. Mischief had been boasting that he was the best joker in town. Little Miss Naughty frowned, and then little Miss Trouble went round to Mr. Mischief's house. After turning down a custard cream, which really had toothpaste in it, she told Mr. Mischief how little Miss Naughty had been boasting that she was the best prankster in town. Mr. Mischief frowned. But as it happened, little Miss Naughty and Mr. Mischief bumped into each other soon. "I hear you think you are the best joker in town," blurted out little Miss Naughty. "And I hear you think you're the best prankster in town," shot back Mr. Mischief. "I'm the best," exclaimed little Miss Naughty. "No, I'm the best," countered Mr. Mischief. "You'll have to have a competition," suggested little Miss Giggles, who had overheard them squabbling, "and I will be the judge." "Good idea," the two agreed. The word of an April Fool's Day competition quickly spread, and it turned out to be a very popular idea. Everyone wanted to join in. Before little Miss Giggles knew it, it had become an official event. Even the king said he would award a trophy to the winner. The town's joke shop did a roaring trade. This year's April Fool's Day was going to be quite the craziest, maddest day you could imagine. Little Miss Trouble could not believe what she had started. Mr. Funny liked to tell a joke, but he also liked to play a joke. He tied teeny tiny whoopee cushions to the soles of little Miss Splendid's shoes. It rather ruined the good impression she had hoped to make with her new hat. Little Miss Giggles couldn't help but join in, and she swapped Mr. Muddle's hat for one 2 sizes too big. Mr. Muddle was very confused. He thought he had shrunk. Mr. Small disguised himself as a tomato and gave little Miss Lucky a big surprise when he jumped out of a bowl. Mr. Silly put round wheels on Mr. Nonsense's bike, which they both thought was hilarious. A joke that only works in nonsense land, where wheels are square. Mr. Greedy wasn't so amused when, unlike little Miss Trouble, he fell for the old trick of swapping the sugar for the salt. Yuck! Little Miss Fun filled Mr. Tickle's biscuit jar with honey. Mr. Tickle got a sticky surprise when he reached downstairs with his extraordinarily long arm for his morning biscuit in bed. In the middle of the night, Mr. Strong swapped Mr. Lazy's alarm bell for something a little more effective. That should wake him up. Little Miss Brainy swapped Mr. Clever's glasses for magnifying lenses. When he put them on, everything looked huge. He thought there was a giant man-eating tiger lying on the rug in his living room. Mr. Wrong played a joke on himself. He hasn't really got the hang of April Fool's Day, but he's definitely enjoying himself. Little Miss Brave played a joke on Mr. Grumpy, which was very brave. And of course, last but not least, little Miss Naughty laid bubble wrap under Mr. Jelly's rug. Pop, snap, pop, snap, pop, it went as he walked across it. "Oh my goodness," shrieked Mr. Jelly. "It's the snapping jaws of a crocodile, an enormous, hungry crocodile with chomping sharp teeth. I'm going to be eaten alive. Run for the hills. And Mr. Mischief filled Mr. Snooty's pool with jelly. His morning swim was rather bouncy. What a lot of April Fool's Day jokes. Little Miss Giggles was having trouble keeping up with them all. However, the most inventive joke was unveiled at the judging when everyone gathered to hear the result of the competition. It was Little Miss Inventor's multicolored rapid-fire custard pie thrower. Splat, 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 splat. It splatted everyone in the room, including Little Miss Giggles and the king. Little Miss Giggles checked through her long list of practical jokes, and after some careful thought, she whispered in the king's ear, "The best April Fool's Day joke of the year goes to Little Miss Inventor," announced the king. Even Little Miss Naughty and Mr. Mischief had to agree it was by far the most impressive joke of the day, and definitely the messiest. Splat! It turned out that the king enjoyed a practical joke as much as everyone else.